it's Pete the Irish Pilot here. Now look, there's a lot of chat amongst you all out there that my account is artificial. There's nothing fake about it at all. I am completely real, and what comes out of my mouth is from my limited intelligence. So in order to prove this being the case, I invited you to send in some questions, of which I got squillions and trillions. I've waded through them all and I've put together a bit of a video to answer as many of them as I possibly can. So grab yourself a brew, sit back, relax, and enjoy the fun ahead. Bye for now. Oh, the beast, the most wonderful Piper Cherokee, the PA-28, wonderful airplane. Oh, 42 years, can you believe it? I'm afraid I didn't. That's not something that I would ever even think of buying, because I don't like gummies. But if we were getting other stuff, well, yeah, but not gummies. Every airplane has a natural snaking or yawing characteristic, and a damper smooths out that rather unpleasant snaking feeling that passengers would experience in the cabin. So that's what a yaw damper's for. Well, thanks for those kind words. Previously, years ago, the TriStar, when it was flying, the Lockheed L-1011, wonderful, unbeatable machine. There's still 757s flying around, and for me, they are the Ferrari of the sky. They are absolutely tip-top. It's the formal check by the pilot non-flying that the aeroplane is climbing and not descending, because you wouldn't want to bring the gear up if it was not climbing away from the ground. So that is the executive command for the gear to be asked to be brought up. Probably learn to fly and remember to take an aeroplane with you. What a great question. As a matter of fact, I have twice. First time was when I was an air cadet in my teens, and it was an ancient old thing. I think it was called a Blannock, and it had no canopy on it, and it was in a cloud, and I thought this is all very strange, but actually not bad. And then there was a hiatus of decades until last year, 2024. I had the privilege of going up in a glider in Oxfordshire with a wonderful gliding instructor called Amelia, and she's going to be great in the aviation industry years ahead. Keep your ears and eyes open for her. And I had a wonderful time enjoying the view. I had a little bit of a pull around. It is not easy. Don't think because there's no engine it's a piece of piss. It actually isn't. But yes, gliding is great, and I'd heartily recommend you try it. Okay, not necessarily amusing, but memorable. A nasty, dirty night at Kennedy in New York, just about to depart as one of the last flights across the Atlantic. Weather's absolutely shit, and we were number 75 in the queue. It took 4 hours and 36 minutes to get to the threshold of runway 22 right to take off, at which point the air traffic controller told me, "Your flight plan's cancelled, clear off the runway and start again." We had a full and frank expression of views, and I took off. Oh gosh, how many to choose from? Well look, there's a clear winner here. It's the absolutely undisputed champion. As a passenger, it's got to be Singapore Changi. Close behind, there's Dubai and Hong Kong. As a pilot, for sure, Heathrow, both in terms of its complexity and its safety. Wonderful place. Okay, that's an interesting question, but let's keep it very, very simple. How is the aeroplane flying? There is enough difference in air pressure between the upper surface and the lower surface of the wing, all the way down the approach. Nothing changes when it goes into the go-around. There is still enough air by design. They haven't just come up with this by luck. By design, there's enough lift to keep the aeroplane going. Simple. Well, look, let's be honest, they have a reputation, and whether you think it's a good one or a bad one, that's entirely your choice. But I'm pretty balanced, I think, about showing the good stuff, and there is actually good stuff in amongst the rough there that are not so brilliant. You take your choice, a bit like restaurants, decide where you want to eat. Basically, you're telling the engine managing system, the computers, a lie. You do not take off with full power all the time, because it puts an immense amount of strain and wear on the engine, and engines are bloody expensive. They are millions of pounds. So in order to get just enough power, plus a little bit more, you tell the engine a lie about the outside air temperature, and flex is the word used to say false temperature, a lie about the outside air. A slat is a leading edge high lift device. It's on the front of the wing, and it's used for takeoff and landing. The wing is only a certain size, so in order to get the maximum amount of lift and indeed be able to increase the angle of attack, that's the angle at which the aeroplane is presenting itself to the airflow, certain manufacturers of certain aircraft types have installed slats, and that's their purpose. Scariest landing was going into New York's JFK, again onto runway 22 right. Things are a bit tricky. The instrument landing system doesn't actually point you directly at the runway. It's slightly what they call offset. Now that particular occasion there was a horrendous crosswind and there was a storm. So the whole thing mixed together meant that I was rubbing my head and patting my stomach, and we were pointing in one direction, slewing in another, and in the end I just went around because it was all too much. Dead simple, simple minds. Jim Kerr, Charlie Burchill, always has been, always will be, still going, nearly 50 years. Unbelievable, sublime. Keep the passion. It's wonderful that you've got into aviation, and that passion will see you through the good days as well as the bad days, and there is going to be a mix of them. Work bloody hard at it. Do not give up and think wind. Don't take it personally. Whether it's recreational or professional flying, any feedback, harsh criticism indeed, is for your own good. It's not a slight on your personality. It's at the end of the day to save your neck potentially. So take it, heed it, review it, write it down, always look back on what you've been told, and don't make the same mistake twice if you possibly can. But don't take it personally. Live and learn the lesson. Oh, definitely all 5 APUs on the 146. No, just like any other airplane. First of all, the system would not allow you to do that. And secondly, that would end up having the airplane highly unstable and you would crash. My to-be wife was sitting on the jump seat, the cabin crew jump seat at R1. And we taxied out onto the runway to depart off 7 right at Hong Kong. And as we increased the thrust, I actually increased the thrust, one of the engines went fut. Not very impressive. That's a very interesting question that you ask, and look, I'm even dressed for the occasion. It would be a see me, during which there is no need to sit down and no need to expect tea or biscuits. I would have a full and frank expression of views during which I would speak and they wouldn't respond. Warn them if you do that again, you'll be in the shit. You'll get your cards and you'll be told to fuck off. Learn your lesson, don't do it again. Yes, that is perfectly possible. And indeed, there are some good reasons for doing it, that if the weather is half decent, better than Cat 1, and you can see the airfield from some distance out, it's good to get hand-eye, stick and rudder skills practiced. And so a lot of pilots would do that. The problem is with commercial airliners, you've got to be mindful of the fact that you might have several hundred people behind you, so it's not like a recreational airplane. So yes, it does happen. I thoroughly enjoyed flying the Tornado, but actually the Hawk was a bit of a racing car, a military 757, albeit a small size. Commercially, I loved flying the 340-600, and the 787 was pretty good too. Well, I've had a few. I've had one where I got multiple lightning strikes, another one where a big Canadian goose smashed into the front window just as the aeroplane was rotating off the runway at Heathrow. I've had some other situations with dodgy weather, trying to get into airports running short of fuel, but never landing with dangerously low stuff. But there are times, few and far between, but it makes it a great job. The Hawk, the 757, and the TriStar. That's very difficult to answer precisely. The best answer for passenger comfort is to sit as close to the wing root as you possibly can. That's adjacent to the center of gravity, more or less, and therefore you will minimize the amount of moving around no matter what the level of turbulence is. It means it's manual thrust, and Flex 58 means that you have lied to the computers that control the engines. You've told them that the outside air temperature is 58 degrees and the thermal efficiency of the engine will produce a commensurate power rating, and that's what it needs on that day for that takeoff. So basically, it's you lying to the engine and using manual thrust. It's a very, very interesting question, and that has happened. I'm glad to say that I'm not one of the culprits, but I did work with some people that did have overfull beakers, as they're called, in the cup holders, and they sloshed around and got down into the avionics bay, not with disastrous consequences, but enough to get a memo from the chief pilot to say, lads, cut it out. Oh, A340-300, A340-600, 330-300, 787. No, I never flew the 320, so I wouldn't answer that question with authority, but I think it is 2 then 1, or right then left. I believe it's to do with the hydraulic system, that the parking brake and the emergency brakes are powered off the right-hand hydraulic system, or the blue system if it has a colour. So you want to make sure that you've at least got brakes, and that's why you would start it first. But I'm not guaranteeing it, speculation on my part with a little bit of thought. I would fly with Aer Lingus. Oh, well, sure, there you go. That's what voice, what accent? Great question, 2 answers. First one, it allows the cabin crew, who are there primarily for your safety, to be able to look out any window to see is there a danger outside of fire or some other hazard, and also to make sure that everybody, cabin crew and passengers alike, have got their eyes adjusted to the outside light level in order that you can see properly in order to navigate your way out of the aeroplane in the unlikely event of an emergency evacuation. I go for the first one, thank you very much. Beau bus, and who said it was better? No, and incidents, and worse still accidents, crashes, are always the subject of official investigations. It's neither my remit or in my desire, or do I have the qualifications to comment or draw conclusions on what is the work of professional bodies. It isn't actually a dropping feeling, it's a less steep climb. It's the nose of the aircraft coming down, a less nose up attitude as the airplane starts to accelerate, and the pilots will bring the flaps and slats in. 757. Okay, yes, it does matter. By and large, 99% of every commercial airline flight operated in the world every day uses what's called assumed weights. I won't speculate exactly what they are. They're in the order of something like 10 kilograms for a baby, 65 for a child, 75 for a woman, and 90 for a man. Those are assumed weights, so you do the simple multiplication, add it up, and that's fine. Where do you sit? Well, it's like where do you sit on a seesaw to make it balance, because an airplane is essentially a balance, a seesaw. So when you're given an assigned seat for takeoff and landing, providing there's 80% or more of the cabin filled, it doesn't really matter if you move around. If it's less than that, it can start to be a problem. So my advice to you is, if you want to move to another seat, do it after the seatbelt sign is off, and then get back to your original seat whenever you land. But it does matter, assumed weights most of the time, but on routes where weight and takeoff performance is really critical, airlines will actually measure the weight of your baggage and the passengers. Absolutely yes, and go for it, do it. It'll be the best decision you've ever made apart from getting married. I nearly got hit by another we nearly had a mid-air collision when I was in the military. There, by the grace of God, it didn't happen. And the closest call, none of them were really life-threatening. They were, very few things in aviation are life-threatening. Some of them can be complicated scenarios and situations, often requiring some lateral thought and asking for exceptional alleviations from air traffic control or whatever. But losing all the first officer's instruments, so basically I was flying a 340-600 by myself because it was only my instruments that worked. I hit a great big goose on takeoff from Heathrow that I thought was like a bomb going off. It didn't break the window, but we ended up going back to Heathrow and cancelling the flight. It is extremely realistic, so realistic that most pilots now get their type rating stamped into their book by never having set foot on the aeroplane. And that applied to me. I never saw the 340 or the 787 or the 330 in the flesh until I'd done it in the simulator. There are aircraft for which there are not simulators, and therefore you have to go and fly them. And some business jets or light corporate business aeroplanes do require you to actually fly the aeroplane to get your type rating recurrent check done. You do not need to have taken physics. However, if you possibly can, I would heartily recommend it. I've never flown the A350 as a pilot, but in terms of passenger comfort, I think the 350 is a better airplane, strangely enough. Oh, to Cape Town or Hong Kong? Absolutely not. Get out there, get stuck into the flying training and get on with it. Don't waste your time or money doing that. I'll do my best. There is one or two, there are one or two already there. There's a Concorde, there's a China Airlines, and there's a Alitalia MD-11. Have a look. No, I've been extremely blessed by the flying gods. I have never suffered from travel or motion sickness, so I was lucky. Put the seatbelt sign on, make sure they've got their lap straps done up as always, and if it gets particularly severe, then we put our shoulder straps on as well and fly at the turbulence penetration speed. God gave me it. Hawk and the Tornado, and the least favourite by a country mile, the Jet Provost Mark III. Constant speed, variable noise. Jolly good. Same to yourself. A little bit of climatology can lead to The Met Office, the weather people doing it, it's not a pilot's job to try and work out where turbulence is. We know that there'll be turbulence around certain areas of thunderstorms, cumulonimbus clouds, and we avoid them like the plague. But in terms of certain areas, that's really down to the specialist Met man. We learn just enough in the commercial exams to get us through, but we rely on the specialists to give us the really detailed information. Oh, definitely fog and ice at the same time, so auto lands in sub-zero conditions. Yes, most of them can, some of them can't. The 757, for instance, cannot jettison fuel. They tend to want it done above 5,000, 7,000 feet, or 10,000, depending on the country and depending on the season. Every country has different rules. For instance, in America, you need to ask permission, you need to tell them when you're starting, you need to tell them when you stop, and you need to tell them how much fuel you dumped. Varies all over the place. Magnetic. Well, the best advice is have nothing wrong with you, but to be serious and not flippant. It's probably the most stringent medical examination you'll do, and in order to avoid disappointment, I would check the various things, particularly eyesight, cardiac and hearing, that you will be tested on at your general practitioner, at your family doctor. Just get those checked out to make sure that there is nothing obviously wrong, because those would debar you from getting a class 1 and you will have paid a lot of money and be very, very disappointed. Providing that's fine, you'll be fine. Well, work hard, review, revise, read, prepare. Look back on everything that I hope you will have amassed during your time as a first officer, and then remember that your command course, if it's anything like mine, will be vacuum packed because you'll be doing it with somebody else, so it might only be half the amount of flying that ideally you would get in the simulator, but be well prepared. There will be scenarios that you'll get both in real life and in the sim that you cannot foresee, and that's where your lateral thought has to come in. But first and foremost, don't panic. Fly the aeroplane and just stay calm. Oh my God, if I had the time, I would. I'll add it to the list. It's a great suggestion, but don't hold your breath. Lovely aeroplane, butter machine, and that's said for good reason. I've flown on a DC-10 twice, and I thought it was great. British Caledonian, fine airline. Yes, it is. I had a great time, 42 years flying, no incidents, no accidents, and I'm here to tell the tale. If you fancy doing that, that's fine. Personally, I would say when you've got the basic educational requirements under your belt, get out there and crack on with the flying. Oh, for a fair while yet, because an awful lot of money has been invested in them, particularly in the 380. So I'd say the next decade or 15 years. Oh, I'm definitely for it. Never, no way, no chance. Okay, so there you go. Real answers from me, out of my mouth, from my tiny brain and my limited intelligence. I hope you got something out of it, and better still, I hope you enjoyed it. And if that's the case, click a like and maybe subscribe to the channel. In the meantime, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.